Hello, welcome to Gen Z Finance. I'm an older Gen Z on the cusp of being a young millennial, documenting my financial journey here on YouTube and over on my Instagram at Zennial Finance. So please make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and also go follow me over there for more personal finance content. So today we are going to be going over my 2022 financial goals. It seems crazy that we have to do this, but 2021 is practically over. As I'm filming this, it is December 22nd. So I'm going to have 5 main financial goals that I'm going to be working towards this year, and there's kind of some sub goals with them, just how I'm actually going to hit these goals or how I see myself working towards them. So we'll go over all of that. But before we do, I want to provide a quick who I am as of the end of 2021 and just give you some context around my life and my finances. I think this is really helpful so you can kind of get an idea of why I'm setting these goals and why I'm picking out these numbers. So the first thing, I am 24. I live at home with my mom, so I don't really pay her rent. I cover all of my other bills like my phone and my car insurance and everything like that, and I chip in about $150 a month for like groceries and household items. But other than that, I don't really pay rent, utilities, or a lot of groceries. Second thing about me is I am debt-free. I graduated with about $30,000 in student loans, and I paid those off September of 2020. I am FI curious, so FI stands for financial independence. So my net worth as of the end of 2021, it's not finalized yet, but it's going to be somewhere around $94,000, maybe like $95,000. And of that, about $63,000 is invested. So that's in my 401k, Roth IRA, HSA, brokerage, things like that. And then finally, I work full-time in HR. My gross salary leading into 2021, just based on my full-time job, is about $62,000. So that is who I am and what I'm working with. I have 5 goals, but I have 4 categories of money goals. So the first one is income. The second goal I have is investing. So this is about retirement, FIRE. And then the other 2 categories of money goals is for spending and then savings. And this is mainly sinking funds and more short-term goals. I'm going to have at least 1 goal in each of these 4 categories. So the first category we're going to talk about is income goals. I feel like this is a great place to start because, like I said, you need to know what you're going to be working with and bringing in to figure out how much you can realistically do. So goal number 1 for 2022 is to have a total gross income of $75,000. So my gross income for 2021 is about $65,000. I think when all of the numbers are finalized, that's what it's going to be. And I'd like to increase this by $10,000. So how am I going to do this? First thing, I want to be able to pay myself $3,000 from my side hustles, which is kind of a lot because in 2021, I made probably like $1,500 in side hustles. So I'm going to have to double that, actually more than double it, and then actually pay myself at least $3,000 after taxes and expenses. So we'll see how that goes. I want to get a raise at my full-time job, a substantial one, not just like 3%, and also hopefully get a good full-time job bonus. So the next set of goals is going to be focusing on investing. So goal number 2 is I want to achieve a 60% savings rate based on my gross income. So if I did hit that $75,000 income goal, that would mean I would need to save $45,000 this year to hit 60%. Okay, so this is how I calculate my savings rate. It is how much I invest this year and how much I save, or I call it not spent. So this could be money that I just don't spend from any of my categories, money that I am saving through sinking funds, things like that, divided by my gross income. So how do I plan on doing this? Well, I want to invest at least $30,000, and how I work that out is by maxing out my 401k, which is going to be $20,500 in 2022, plus $6,000 for my Roth IRA, plus maxing out the HSA, which is $3,650, I believe. That alone is $30,150. So by maxing out those 3 tax advantage accounts, I should already hit $30,000. The second way I'm going to hit this is just keep my other spending low, and we're actually going to talk about some of my spending goals in a couple of minutes. And then thirdly, save or invest the rest of what I don't spend. So while I want to invest at least $30,000, obviously if I invest more than that, that is okay by me. Okay, so this next thing I guess is like goal 2.5. This is a goal that I established at the end of 2020, so for 2021, and I knew I would probably hit it around this time in 2022, and that was I wanted a $100,000 net worth by the time I turned 25, which is in May of 2022. Like I said at the beginning, my net worth currently is just about like $94,000, so I should accomplish and hit this goal a little bit early. I should hit it in either January or February of 2022. So it's a goal I have, and it's a goal I set originally at the end of 2020, but I'm kind of already pretty convinced that I'm going to be hitting this goal. So that moves us into goal 3, which is to have a $135,000 net worth by the end of 2022 and hopefully have $100,000 actually invested. So that would be about a $45,000 increase in 1 year. In 2021, my net worth increased by just over $50,000. So this is a bit more conservative. It gives me about $5,000 less that I need to work towards, but I still think this is a challenging enough goal. How am I going to do this? Again, I'm investing at least $30,000 like we talked about. And when it comes to my invested assets, I have $63K currently invested. So if I have the $63K plus I invest another $30,000, that leads us right up to $93,000 I should in theory have. So that means I either need to invest an additional $7,000 or I need to see $7,000 in like growth or capital gains through the market or some type of mix like that, ideally maybe half and half. Something that I didn't talk about or count when I went over how much I'm going to invest with goal number 2 is I should be receiving a match this year from my full-time employer. Now, I believe they are changing up their matching program and they haven't fully released what the new match could be. I think I'll get at least $3,000 or $3,500 put into my 401k from my full-time job. And I should be, I think, because they're changing their vesting schedule. It used to be that you were not fully vested until 6 years with the company, but I do believe that they are going to change that to be immediately vested. So I hope that, match that I get will be immediately 100% mine. So if I get a $3,000 match, that means that I really only need about $4,000 in either additional investments or growth. So if my gross income is $75,000 and I hit the 60% savings rate, again, that would mean I'm investing or saving $45,000, which is exactly how much increase I want to see in my net worth this year. This should be possible as long as the market doesn't crash. And if the market does crash, I can't control that. I don't know if that will happen. No one knows if that will happen. And I can't control that. So I'm not really going to focus on that. I just want to make sure that my math for how I'm figuring out these goals works. Okay, so moving on. The next category we're going to talk about is my spending goals. And that would be goal number 4, which is to have a total yearly spend of $17,000 or less. If you have watched my channel before, then you know that in 2021, my goal was to spend $15,000 or less. So this is a $2,000 increase in how much I'm allowing myself to spend. You can think of this as intentionally inflating my lifestyle. And I'm doing this first because I want to start going to therapy and paying for therapy in 2021. And that's going to be, relatively expensive. I'm trying to figure out a cost-effective way of doing that. But I want to accommodate for therapy, some traveling, and just the unpredictables. And this includes all spending from my net income, all spending from my budget, except for any investing or purchasing of bonds or assets or anything like that. And the main way I'm able to do this is if I live at home for most of the year. I don't have plans to move out in 2022. That would be for 2023 most likely. And the other way I'm going to do this is keep my fun money, which is subscriptions, dining out, entertainment, to $200 or less a month. But I also want to make sure I am giving more via donations and continuing to spend on family, friends, and fun, which was one of the goals I had for 2021. So I'm just trying to find that balance between investing and saving for my future, but also letting myself live in the present and not worrying or using money as an excuse not to do the things that I think will benefit me or that I need to do. So here I'm in my Paycheck Planning Workbook and I have a video going over this. If you're interested, there will be a link in the description box down below for more details. But this is the spending plan tab. So I have my budget forecast tab over here, and this is where I'm actually planning out, okay, how much do I think I will get with my paychecks and how much do I want to budget towards each expense based on those paychecks. But then the spending plan is actually how much of that money I'm going to spend and when. So you can see here that my yearly spending goal is $17,000. That works out to be about $1,415 a month on average. And so then this is kind of how I figured out how much I could realistically spend. I've got my subscriptions, kind of my living expenses, prescriptions, dining out, entertainment, shopping, everything like that, donations, gifts, and you can see that there's some variance here for certain birthdays or Mother's Day and Father's Day, and then Christmas. I have, I think I need to get my oil changed in March, so I'm budgeting $60 for that. Here you can see therapy. I have some money for travel and trips and things like that. All of this is kind of what I'm planning that I will spend each month, and this is just based on things that I know about. So you come down here and you can see that I already have just about $15,000 budgeted out to spend during the year. So that leaves me about $2,000 left. This is kind of like the unpredictable. So I have about $2,000 of buffer put into my budget based on the $17,000 yearly spend. And I talked about this in my video where I went over this, but this is literally kind of how I plan out and figure out how much I can realistically spend and save and work with. Back to the goals. The last category that we have is for savings goals. My goal number 5 is saving about $7,000 in between my moving out and other sinking funds. So for my moving out fund, I want to save about $2,400 in 2022. And at the end of 2021, I have about $3,500 already kind of set aside. That would be about $7,000, maybe a little bit more in the move out fund in total, including what I'd already saved in 2021 and what I plan to save in 2022. So for that move out fund, what that encompasses is an increase in my emergency fund, because if I moved out and I had to pay rent and all of these other expenses, then I would need to increase my emergency fund. So I would have some money set aside for that. That would be for movers, obviously money for like applications and a deposit, first month's rent, things like that. And then furniture and household needs as well. That would be what that $7,000 would encompass. And then for my other sinking funds, I'm thinking of doing about $1,200 to car replacement. So that would be saving up money to replace my car if and when it finally is donezo. About $1,800 set aside for travel and trips. Obviously I will be spending from that this year as well, but I want to have $150 a month go into my travel and trip sinking fund. And then another $1,800 set aside for next year medical expenses. I try to save for my medical expenses 1 year in advance. So for instance, the money that I'm spending now in 2021, I saved that in 2020, and I'm currently saving for 2022's medical expenses, so on and so forth. I just like to have all of the money I need for my deductible because I'm on a high deductible health plan. I like to have all that money available at the beginning of the year. That's just my personal preference. And again, if we go to my Paycheck Planning Workbook, my budget forecast, you can see how I'm planning to budget and save for a lot of these sinking funds down here and the totals over here. So that should be around $7,000 in total between the $2,400 for the move out fund, $1,200 for the car replacement, $1,800 for travel and trips, and $1,800 for next year medical expenses. Okay, well, I think that's going to be it for this video. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I will of course be updating you on my progress towards my 2021 goals. There will be updates to my net worth, and I will also be doing a review of everything I spent in 2021, where all my money went, and just my total progress for the year. As always, I hope y'all are staying safe and healthy and that you have a good day.